In this lesson, we're going to talk about point of view. Point of view is the perspective from which a story is told. There's three different types of point of view: first, second, and third. In first-person point of view, a character in the story is the narrator, and they're going to use pronouns such as I, me, and my in order to tell the story. This is what it would look like. I found myself lost in the woods where there was no one else. I'm lost, I said to myself, knowing full well that there was no one to hear me. Notice the pronouns they're using: I, myself, I'm, and me. And the character is the narrator telling the story. This is how you know it's first-person point of view. Second-person point of view, the reader is the main character, and the author is going to use pronouns such as you and your to tell the story. Now, second-person point of view is very rare in literature, so you're not going to see it very often, but this is what it looks like. You're walking through the woods, there's no one around, and you are very lost. You can't seem to find your camping group. Again, they're using you and your, and it is making the main character the reader. And so that's how you know it is second-person point of view. Now, in third-person point of view, the narrator is outside of the story's setting, and they're telling the story as the outsider looking in. They're going to use pronouns such as he, she, they, and them. So this is what it would look like. As she walked deeper into the woods, she realized there was no one else around, and she was very lost. Her camping group was nowhere around. So we see pronouns she and her, and the narrator is someone who's obviously outside of the story looking in. So that's how you know it's third-person point of view. Now there's three different types of third-person point of view. First, you have third-person objective. So this is where the narrator doesn't know any of the character's thoughts and feelings. They can only tell you what they see as an outsider looking in. So this is what it would look like. Cynthia continued to wander deeper into the forest. Her footsteps echoed in the emptiness of the woods. Eventually, she made the realization that she was completely alone. She immediately stopped in her steps and started digging in her bag. After a few seconds, she removed what appeared to be a flare gun. She fidgeted with it for a second and then pointed it up at the sky. A loud noise accompanied the bright light that suddenly shot up in the sky. So this is third objective. We can't really see what she's feeling or what she's thinking. We can only see what she's doing. And so since that's the only thing that the narrator's telling us, we know that it's third objective. Then you have third limited. So this is when the narrator is limited to knowing the thoughts and feelings of only one character. So this is what it would look like. Cynthia continued to wander deeper into the forest. She grew more and more terrified with each step. Oh no, I think I lost my camping group, she gasped to herself as she made the realization that she was completely alone. She immediately stopped in her steps and started digging through her bag. Oh, come on, I know it's in here somewhere. My mom refused to let me leave unless I had it. So here we see that we have the character Cynthia, and the narrator actually knows her thoughts and feelings. Notice it says she grew more terrified and she made the realization. And see that italicized font, the font that's slanted? That's her thoughts. So where she says, oh, come on, I know it's in here somewhere, that's actually what she's thinking. So we can see what she's thinking as well. So since the narrator knows this character's thoughts and feelings, we are limited to only this one character's thoughts and feelings, and that's it. So it's third person limited. Then you have third person omniscient. This is the final form of third person. This is when the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all of the characters. So this is what it would look like. Cynthia continued to wander deeper into the forest with her friend Amanda. They both grew more and more terrified with each step. Oh no, I think we lost the camping group, Cynthia gasped to herself as she made the realization that they were completely alone. She immediately stopped Amanda from walking and started digging in her bag. What are you looking for? Amanda inquired. The way Cynthia was acting was starting to worry her more than the fact that they were lost. So here the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of both of these characters, so of all the characters in the story. Notice it says that they grew both more terrified, that Cynthia made the realization, that Amanda was starting to worry about Cynthia, and at the very end that everybody, including everyone in the camping group, felt so happy. So we know all the characters' thoughts and feelings. So that's why this is third omniscient. Now, if you're trying to determine the point of view, the first thing you need to do is ignore the dialogue, which is the words that are within quotations, unless it is thoughts coming directly from a character's head, which is what will be italicized or slanted. After that, you want to look for pronouns. This will identify whether it is first, second, or third. Now, if it's third person point of view, you're going to have an additional step, which is to look for all the thoughts and feelings of the different characters to see what type of third person it is. Okay, so you have to determine how many characters the feelings belong to know whether it's objective, limited, or omniscient. So let's go ahead and have you try. So go ahead and read the story. Go ahead and pause the video, read the story really quick, so that way we can try to determine the point of view of this story. So pause and read. Okay, now that you've read this story, we need to try to figure out the point of view. So the first thing you need to do is ignore the dialogue or the speech unless it's thoughts coming directly from the character's head. So looking here, I have to look for things that are in quotations. I can notice that my very first line is in quotations. So I want to go ahead and I want to cross that out. I want to ignore that altogether. So the next step is to look for pronouns. This is going to identify whether it's first, second, or third. So looking through, I see a lot of pronouns. I see she's, I see hers, I see an it towards the end there, and I see a he at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight quite a few of them so I can get an idea of what the pronouns are. So I see these pronouns, and yeah, I'm starting to think that this is third person, because remember, she, he, and it, those are all third person pronouns. Now, if it's third person, you have to highlight all the thoughts and feelings of the passage to determine how many characters they belong to. So, okay, I know it's third, so I need to look through. So, I see the first paragraph is all about Lacey and how she feels. It says that she felt as if there were a pair of eyes boring through the back of her head. She couldn't shake the feeling as she was being watched. She had terrifying thoughts, and you even see what she's thinking. I'm almost there, just a little ways longer. At the end, we can see that a dark figure emerged next time it thought, and it felt elated. So we definitely can see that there's more than two characters' thoughts and feelings. So I can determine that this must be third person omniscient. Now, in regards to point of view, the perspective changes everything. The information the reader receives can change depending on who the narrator is. If the narrator is unreliable, the reader could be receiving false information which could lead to a surprising twist of events. For example, if my narrator has mental health issues and sees visions, and I'm unaware of this, I can think that these visions are real people in this person's life. And then at the end, I can find out that this person is psychotic and they see visions, and those people weren't real. They were apparently just sitting in a room talking to themselves. Now let's look at what this would look like in one story. So let's pretend that there's the same scenario, which is in a mall, there's a kid crying, and these two boys approach to help the kid. So according to Andy, if Andy was telling the story, it would look like this. That he and his friend Harold were at the mall, they saw a lost child, they approached the child to see if they could help him and his mother, so they decide to stay with the little kid until his mom arrives. Now if you were reading the story, it would look like this. Hey, you see that kid over there? Andy asked Harold. Yeah, what about him? Inquired Harold. Well, he's crying and he looks scared. I think he lost his mom. Maybe we should go help him. So that's what it would look like. Now let's say Kelly's trying to tell the same story. Now she's at the mall with her friend Gina and she sees Andy and Harold with a crying kid. And she can't believe they made him cry. How could they be so mean? So her story might look like this. Oh my gosh, Gina, look over there. Those boys made that kid cry. I can't believe they would do something like that. They're so mean. Now, if the kid were telling the story, he'd probably tell it in a first-person narrator, and he would express his feelings that he's scared, but be very thankful for the boys. Where did my mom go? I thought as I realized that I was lost. I began to cry when these big kid boys came up to me. Even though I was scared, I felt better knowing I wasn't alone anymore. Now notice, it's a similar event, but there's different perspectives, which can lead to different prejudices. And it can also change the reader's knowledge. Your knowledge as a reader is impacted due to the different information given based off of who tells the story and the point of view. So this has been point of view as part of story elements. Hopefully now you understand it just a little.